it wasn't a quick fix. I think it was just starting to teach myself to give myself grace and remind myself that I have the best intentions. And I think the big thing that clicked for me that helped me as a reminder in those feelings where it was, it's okay if you're not perfect, because no parent or no human being on this planet is without mistakes or without lessons learned. It's just reminding myself, like, I will do my best.
For anybody that is watching that is going through their own creation experiment, maybe they are in the journey and they've been doing it for a while, owning their own business. Maybe they're just curious. Maybe they're just creators and they're just out on social, but they don't know yet what their thing is to actually monetize yet. So I was just curious, what advice do you have for anybody who is on that journey, maybe not very far along? But like I said, I got to see your journey from the outside in, and it was profound because my journey looked so different. I had so much community and so much support around me that my evolution was fairly comfortable. And then here you were doing it all behind the scenes in a lot of ways alone. And I didn't even realize like how much you were doing on your own until we, started reconnecting a bit more. And so in some ways, like, oh gosh, you have nothing to worry about. If you've made it this far without all of that support, you're going to be at the top of your game in no time. But just to give any encouragement, especially if it is a woman that is a mom, like what are some key takeaways to give to them?
Oh my goodness. So that was something as a mom that kept showing up a lot for me, especially as a new mom, and I felt a lot of feelings of guilt and confusion, identity struggle, especially there was a period of time where, we didn't have two cars. When I was at home with my daughter, it was at home doing the same thing every day, trying to get creative and feeling like I was so thankful to have the time with my daughter. But at the same time, it felt so isolating. I also was the only friend in my group at the time to have a child. Wow. And so I think that sometimes, it can look different for everyone. That was my experience, but where people come into motherhood, it can feel really lonely, or some of the thoughts and feelings that surface, there can be feelings of guilt because here is the biggest blessing in your life, and just so much love. But then there's these other feelings of how fast your life changes, how quickly your mentality changes, like just overnight. And then all of your time, it's not yours, it is to them. And it is just a huge shift fast.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't change it, but I think there's a lot of feelings that come up with that. And for me, it was a lot of mom guilt and a lot of shaming myself, like being hard on myself. And I think that it wasn't a quick fix. I think it was just starting to teach myself to give myself grace and remind myself that I have the best intentions. And I think the big thing that clicked for me that helped me as a reminder in those feelings where it was, if it's okay if you're not perfect, because no parent or no human being on this planet is without mistakes or without lessons learned. It's just reminding myself, like, I will do my best to take away a lesson. So if I'm not proud of, a feeling that came up, even a thought like that, I can work through that and I can create space for myself. And I can also show up the best I can in that moment. And if it's not the best that I want to be, I can learn from it and see how I can do it better next time. And that creates space for me to give myself grace and also know that it's okay. Like it's okay. And as far as if anyone is unsure of, what their journey is, whether it's with business or what niche or, even just career. I mean, if just not maybe knowing that, or your dharma, like if it's a spiritual journey, just not knowing that, I feel like they can they definitely intertwine. It's a slow process. And I think it's just for me, it was asking a lot of questions of what do I want my day-to-day to look like? So do I want to be in an office setting? Do I want to sit? Do I want to be around people? Do I want to talk? And I think asking really basic questions for me, not thinking of career, because then it's so broad for me. I asked myself, how do I want my everyday to feel? And what makes me happy? Is it sitting behind a computer? Is it, having face-to-face interactions? Is it how long school, or not, a shorter time, or if school at all? I just started kind of breaking down the path, and then what the end goal of like what that would feel like. And then it narrowed down. So then within that, I could look at careers, and it was helpful to do it very surface. And my experience was also out of high school when I started doing this, because I had an idea. But I think through asking yourself simple questions, you'll see a pattern. And then I think through asking yourself more deeper questions of what brings you joy, what lights you up, what gets you so passionate that you could spend so much time doing, you don't care if you get paid.
Yeah.
Like where you would forget to charge someone money if you're the one doing it, because it's just something that lights you up. And I think that can be hard to pinpoint, or we can put pressure on ourselves. And that's why I say, like, just look at the simple questions, and then you'll see patterns. And the hard part is also trying it out, because we're constantly evolving and changing beings. So it's okay if that changes and it's different, because it might be the same genre and it might evolve to something new. It's evolved for me. And I think that's normal and natural and okay if you're not in alignment with what you chose at this age, and you had shifts and lessons learned, and you are a different person. We're not the same people. So I think giving yourself grace that you don't have to make this giant decision and that's going to be your whole life.
I know. I know. It's kind of interesting. It's like, where does we must be brainwashed at some point to think that we're supposed to know. And I've actually spent the last 2 years hosting multiple experiments because, and to be honest, I still don't have a full clear picture. I have like a lot of chapters of the last 2 years that bring a lot of clarity, but it's almost like, well, why not? Like, why not have an idea and execute it and see, do you like it? Did you enjoy it? What were the results? And then it not being any more than that. Like, it literally is just a way for you to collect some data. And it's such a fun, low pressure way to live too. My gosh, like I can't even imagine thinking the way I used to, that I should know what I am supposed to do. Oh my God.